internet friends, I'm Ryan. This is Demos in the Dark. Sit back, relax. We are going to talk about a new pedal from Catalinbread that, frankly, is a little bit weird. And that's cool. In the early 2000s, Alesis put out a series called multifx. And what they were these tabletop effects units that were geared mostly towards DJs. And who wanted to add some effects to their performances and stuff like that. And a lot of the effects in that series, there were 8 of them. They were pretty normal, it was like compression and tremolo, things like that. But the 7th in that series was called Bitrman, and that one was wild, just completely wild. It had like bit crushing, it had ring mod, it had all this decimator, it had all this stuff just to like mangle the sound that you put into it. And what Catalinbread have done is they put out this here. It is called the Bitters, and it is that Bitrman mod effects unit with a whole bunch of improvements. And it's really, really cool. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to run it down on a mix. And because I'm a glutton for punishment, I am going to try to make pop music with this. And then come on back afterwards, and we will go through the Bitters bit by bit. Thanks for sticking around. If you, like me, are a nerd who spends a lot of time in your dark studio, then please like, subscribe, comment below. I would always love to hear your thoughts on this stuff, especially when it's this bizarre. Now, you can use bitters on just about anything. It was designed for, the original Alesis unit was designed for DJs. So it's very wide ranging. We're going to go guitar. And I am running a Revolta Guitars Regatta with Righteous Sound pickups in it. And I am running into a Silktone amp. Silktone amp sounds like this. Okay, for the controls, we have a distortion control. This is exactly what it sounds like. The more you turn it up, the more distortion is added to your signal. Then we have a dual control, and this controls the speed of the phaser. There's an internal phaser. And then we have the bitters, and the bitters controls which selection you have on the program selector below. So whichever, if you're on a Bitcrusher, then that is the control for the Bitcrusher. If you're on a frequency modulator, that is the control for the frequency modulator. There's also a Decimator and a ring mod in there as well. Now, where it gets interesting is that they have these different arrows here. They're above or below the text. And this means you're changing the order of the effect chain. So if the arrows are above the text, then you're going distortion, dual, bitters. If the arrows are below the text and you're going the opposite direction, you're going bitters, dual, distortion. So you can make a whole bunch of really, really wild and crazy sounds with that. And then there's also a mix knob, which the original did not have. So thankfully, Catalinbread went ahead and decided to add that into it. So if we turn it on now, we are going to be on a Bitcrusher. And because the arrows are above the text, it will be distortion, dual, Bitcrusher. Now, just for a quick reference, let's change that order and put the Bitcrusher first. Then we'll go back. And then we can make some changes to the Bitcrusher. So that's cool. And again, now we've made all those changes. Let's go to the other direction. My favorite program on here is the frequency modulator. And right now we got it running where it is running at the end of the chain rather than the beginning. All right, we're going to slow that down. So if we back off on the mix there, you get a nice chorus. This one's a little less obvious because it's a frequency modulator, but if we change the direction on that, another program, you have the ring modulator. Let's pull back on that mix a little bit. last, we have the Decimator, and what this does is it samples your incoming signal and then spits it out again at a much lower sample rate. Sounds like this. Take all these effects and reverse the order and do all kinds of stuff and come up with a bunch of different sounds, most of which are extremely gnarly. So, I keep using the word weird, and weird is fine. Weird is great. I am all in favor of weird. So I like it. It's a lot of fun. I was able to kind of, like manhandle it and get it into a pop setting, and it sounded great. And it sounded very unique, and that is what this here is. So thank you, Catalinbread, for sending this over for me to check out. As always, thank you for the privilege of your time.